Alright, so, still at my father's, and now how the blowback to who some of Sony's his plans is getting real picking up speed, especially since now we're up to at least five parts of the world filing suit against them: the U.S., the UK, hey, the Netherlands, Mexico, and new challenger Portugal. And that last one, I think, should make a nice segue to point out that even though the business is kind of on fire, there, I know that they claiming that they're not going to be there's no short term impact on their business, but something tells me that they're clearly sweating about the long term prospects of this. As mean, and there's not even any guarantee the next system is going to make their this supposed launch window. Anyway, with that in mind, I thought it would be good to highlight another one that is good, and even though it did not perform as big a launch as expected, it is still quite entertaining, and it's another one I have intent to pick up once I can, preferably on the disc. So, let's talk about the follow up to who developer Housemarque's highly acclaimed roguelike Returnal, and that being this year's SAROS. So let's begin. The game takes place centuries in the future as a crew exploring the far reaches of space. Their ship crash lands on a remote planet, and which is heavily implied to have been the result of a double agent in the crew who and not everyone survives, so you have to not only work with the people who did, you also have to deal with an increasing amount of challenge and the shifting of the landscape about the planet you're on. Fortunately, to level the playing field, as you progress, you can unlock more and better weapon special abilities, and also have an array of defensive maneuvers as well. It also has, and even though people have been erroneously a a saying that Reincarnation is a Souls-like, and I would say, well, yes and no. It's not as that one's not as punishing as those tend to be, but there are some mechanics that were borrowed from them. The parry system being the big one, and this one I think fits that bill a bit more, or where you got to make all those movements count, and most of your weapons do have unlimited rounds, but you can't just run and gun your way all the time. I mean, if you know how to deal with ones, and it is possible. You also have like a melee attack you can use to fight certain enemies as well as to find secrets elsewhere. Whether it's upgrades, resources, keys to get into other areas, and also, you can find audio logs and other secrets to see, hey, what the other crewmates were up to, or rather, what was left of them after you find their outposts on this planet. Because by design, it's really never the same run twice, so you can't really expect to navigate things the same way each time. But that is the whole idea of the roguelite, that the more you play, the more you learn about how each encounter plays out. So that to me has always been what the getting good really symbolizes as like intrinsic learning, and where as someone who's again started playing in the 8-bit and 16-bit days of games always appreciate that. That's mean to not bog things down through excessive tutorials, but you learn by playing, and where certain weapons be more effective against certain enemies. He's he's and also getting rewards for her other challenges too. Who I also like the variety of traps and puzzles. And also, it's clear the developers did build upon the work of Returnal, where for starters, you don't have to do like the whole run in one straight 5 hour shot because this trial only offers enough playtime for half of that. 2 hours and 30 minutes, about the same amount of time it takes to watch new Spider-Man, and and also it is indeed visually stunning, honey. Setting into performance mode, it really is good whenever you're dealing with what can often be a whole bunch of enemies, and even had to factor in how certain ones look around cover as well. That's actually how I finally I beat that one character I was after. I mean, it can definitely, and also again, that also factors into like the design of our characters and how the planet shifts, and it's definitely part of the reason why the ship crashed there. The other, again, being the aforementioned double agent. And even though this game only sold about 300,000 at launch across all formats, that's though word of mouth can help boost this a bit. That's especially as how that's definitely one of my I gotta go my old go to like if I talk about a work that I enjoy but not everyone has had to experience yet. So if you have played this game, great. If you haven't and you have a PS5, I certainly recommend doing so. Which has always been the biggest double-edged sword to me in this part of history, where the more I talk about the actual output that's coming out, with all these cinematic single player experiences, the better. The more I talk about the business side of the business, as, as that's when it's time to start sweating. And I'm not at liberty to confirm or deny I, I anything that has been said behind closed doors from Totoki or Nishino. Oh, I will hate about that transcript of the investor call is that if all this argle bargle is their idea, quote unquote, cautious, I don't want to know what reckless is. It's giving me flashbacks to who, again, the Xbox One rollout, which I covered, and even more directly, a 20 years since the PS3's initial rollout. And with the 20th anniversary of that console, and I do intend to turn mine into a pretty my own personal retro gaming setup where before that store goes dark, if they are serious about that as well, only really just one I could imagine doing. Primarily, the whole fallout from that did lead to a regime change in C-suites, which, based on how most of the words have not had intended effects, fact, I could imagine that happening here as well. Just a thought. Anyway, hey, given how I'm just trying to get more stuff out while I'm at my dad's, there's going to be at least one more first impressions video for you all. And I've actually done a solid job of alternating between like the big budget AAA tentpole titles and the more experimental games, which might not get the most attention, but are still a worthier time, including one I've been keeping an eye on for a while ever since I saw it. It's in one of their presentations where everything went pear-shaped. Which I have to wait and see what it is, though. That'll be all for now, so take care.